Hello, Janet, my little sister. Our Janet, how are you today?
Hi, Letitia. I'm fine, but a little cold. It's very blue skies, but cold here.
So it's chilly. So you've been very good and you've agreed to join me today in Say Cheese, where you have chosen some photographs which you're going to tell us about. So without any more ado, we're going to get started and go to the first photograph. Can you tell us why you have chose this one?
I chose this one because when you asked me to do photos, I'd finished cooking our tea. So this is a pie, and it's a chicken, leek and ham pie with a pastry topping. So it was my tea for that evening, and then I will freeze the rest of the pie. I like to cook in what we call batch cooking. So you cook more than you need and freeze for another day. So, and this pie is one of my husband's favourites.
Right, while you were talking, I was thinking, as we're from the north, we say tea when we're referring to dinner. Correct? So some people might have noticed some words that we use more in the north than you would in another region of England. So maybe I will write some in the post later. So this is a chicken and leek and ham pie.
Yeah, which we ate for our evening meal.
So a leek is the family of the onion, and a pie is because it's got pastry on the top and the filling is underneath. So you are a very good wife and you cook what your husband liked. Did he think it was delicious?
Yes, he did enjoy it. It's one of his favourites.
Really good. I miss your cooking. Right, the next picture we have here, we can see hot air balloons.
So this is the balloon festival, normally in the month of August, and it's held in a place called Oswestry. OWS. I can't spell it actually.
I'll write it in the post, don't worry.
Yeah. And the balloon people come and they display their balloons throughout the day, and then they have a balloon race and you go along and you watch all of this happening, and then they come back with their balloons in the evening, and as you see from the picture where it's nighttime, they then light the balloons to music.
Oh,
so
right.
The flames come on the balloons to light up each balloon according to the music tempo. Yeah.
Right. So it's a whole day spectacular. It's to spend a whole day there with one thing or another.
Yeah.
And which part of the country is it in?
Shrewsbury, Oswestry is on the border of England and Wales.
Right. Okay. So when we write it in the post, maybe we'll write a couple of things about this festival. So you can spend a whole day there, maybe take a picnic, and from the early hours of the day till late at night, if you want to see everything related to this event. So I gather you enjoyed it and you had a great time.
Yeah, as you can see, some of the balloons are very fantastic in their design. So different designs, animals, things like that. So and yes, throughout the day there's places to you either bring a picnic or there's places to get food from, and there's other entertainment there.
Yes,
so,
because if you're on the ground and you can't see everything, you need other things. So people are very creative and it's something different, not to do.
Yes.
Right, this one made me laugh. So here we have two very different events. Would you like to explain to us these events?
Can you just remind me which ones they are, Letitia?
Right. The first one, it looks like you and your husband are together and you're deep sea diving.
Right. Okay. This was a celebration. We went on a cruise to the Caribbean, and I've always wanted to deep sea dive, but because of a medical condition with my ear, I'm unable to do so. But I wanted to swim with the turtles and see the fishes. So this was an excursion from the cruise, and they were like motorbikes.
Yeah.
With the helmet that you see. So you get on the motorbike, and then I think it must be weighted, and it takes you down. You drive the motorbike under the water, and you get to see the world under the sea. Not much in that picture. There's us, but you get to see the fishes.
No, but it's a very unusual thing, no? When I saw it, maybe you told me about it, I'd never remembered it. So I think on the top of the headgear, there is like a line holding you to where you're coming from. I see like here, I don't know if it's a rope or a metal cable. Maybe so you don't float away.
There's a rope. Well, there's a rope on the bike, and then above the water, there's a float. So the people above for safety always know where all of the people are.
Right. So I imagine that what I can see is the float. Right. So you've got a helmet, and it looks a bit like a submarine. It's like a submarine, no? Glass here, and then you've got your oxygen bottle here. Did you feel free to move around as you wanted?
Yes, within the helmet, they pump the oxygen, so you can breathe normally within the water, and you stay in pairs and in the group as a whole, but you do have time to move around, taking the vehicle for a little drive under the water.
Yeah, so it's like having a fishbowl over your head, no? A fishbowl over your head. Yeah. And it looks really good for people that would like to do deep sea diving, haven't learned how to do it, and you just get on this, you called it a motorbike, underwater motorbike. Yeah. And you can go and enjoy the underwater nature. Now, the next one, right. The next one is you and your husband together, and I gather this is a fancy dress for some occasion. And you are dressed up as two characters from Disney, I think.
So my husband is Shrek, and I am Princess Fiona. It was a fancy dress birthday party we were attending. But Shrek and Fiona is very special to my husband and I. We met online, and our names were, he was Shrek and I was Fiona. And that's how we met. And it's always been a theme for our relationship together as being Princess Fiona and Shrek.
And also
two ogres in the world together.
Also, I think you had these figures on your wedding cake.
Yes, we did. So on the top of the cake, which my auntie made for us, which was a very traditional wedding cake in the UK. So two white cakes on top of each other with white icing and marzipan underneath, which is an almond paste. And then the two figures on top were not the traditional bride and groom. It was Princess Fiona and Shrek on top.
Yes, so we if you have a traditional wedding, we normally have a wedding cake made with, some people call it white icing or fondant. And normally you have a man and a woman dressed as a bride and a groom, but you decided to continue the theme of your relationship, and you put on Princess Fiona and Shrek. So you look very good together here anyway, no? Now, this is a very endearing photo.
It was a very good party.
Now, this is a very emotional photograph, even for me. So I'll leave it with you to explain.
Is this the pet photograph?
Yes, this is a golden Labrador at the top, a black one. I don't know if it's got a special kind of, a black Labrador and a horse.
Okay. The Labrador, the blonde one, is Sky, and the one below is her brother. That's Sumo, and they're brother and sister from the same litter, and they're my fur, as in animal fur babies. And they are 12.5 years old, so very much in the twilight years, very slow, not very active, sleep for maybe 23 hours of the day. So they're very close and very dear to me. And then the horse was my horse called Lucy, and she was a very big horse, a Dutch warmblood. She was, and she was we called her the gentle giant. She would let the children brush her standing underneath her belly. I lost Lucy about 16, 17 years ago now. But again, these are pets that I've had or have.
Going back to your dogs, you had first the mother, and what was her name?
So yes, so I had another black Labrador called Cole.
Right, and Cole means black in German, I think. Right, so you had the mother, and then you decided?
Yes, then we decided to breed from her, and Cole had 11 puppies. So she had 7 black puppies and 4 blonde puppies, or blonde or yellow, but they mean the same. And because people knew Cole and what a good girl she was a very good dog. Most of the puppies went to family and friends. So I still see the puppies with the family and the friends.
I remember we thought you were crazy when you were going to do this, and then you had 11. And then I think, if I remember correctly, my niece helped you, Samantha, and you even painted the tails of the puppies so you know who they were, because you had to feed them every so many hours.
Yes, so we could identify the puppies. My niece was maybe 11 at the time, and she came from school to watch the puppies being born. But so we could identify the puppies, because you need to weigh them to monitor that they're healthy and they're doing well. So we used to weigh them every day. But so we knew who was who, because they all looked very much the same except for the 4 blonde ones. Samantha brought many colours of her nail polish, and we, as you said, we tipped their tails with different colours. And Sky, who is in the picture, the colour of her nail polish was sky blue.
Right.
So that name stuck with Sky. And Sumo was the firstborn, and he came into the world a big fat roly-poly puppy, and he was crying, I'm hungry, I'm cold. And he was very vocal when he entered the world. And when his brothers and sisters came along, he'd wrestle them off his mum to get the milk. And I said, he's like a sumo wrestler with all of his big fat rolls and wrestling everybody to get to the milk. So sumo stuck, and he's a very big boy anyway. He's not fat, but he's a big
No,
dog.
he's just big. I remember also you decided you were only going to keep one with the mother, of course, but your husband fell in love with Sky.
No, Neil chose Sky. She was the one we were keeping. I let him choose. And Sumo, I fell in love with Sumo. So when people came to look at the puppies, to buy the puppies, I used to hide Sumo in the cupboard so they didn't see him, to make sure they didn't choose him, because Neil mostly was working, so he wasn't here, because I really wanted to keep Sumo. So when most of the puppies were gone, and I said, it doesn't look like anyone wants Sumo, can we keep him? So this meant we had 3 dogs, which was a lot of work, but I wouldn't have changed it.
Well, when my girls used to visit you in the summer, they loved it as well. I think everyone that went to your house wanted to see the 3 dogs and play with them and be with them. So that was something. And then I have fond memories of Lucy, because when you lived down in London, I used to visit you there. Even I rode Lucy. Lucy, I don't know where we should come up to our shoulders. Will she come up to our shoulders, more or less? Her stomach, I mean.
Well, her stomach, maybe maybe to our shoulders or a little higher. She was very tall.
This
we measure horses.
Give people an idea, you know. So I'm 1 meter 78, and I remember, I think I could look up to her when she was fully standing up. And so our girls that used to go riding on her, it was a massive giant for them, but they never were afraid of going with her or riding it. So when I saw this photograph the other day, I remembered when I wanted to get the girls out of bed, I could never get them out of bed. But at 6 o'clock, I think it was, in the freezing cold, they used to get up, put on 3 or 4 layers of clothes to go with you to clean out the stables, that's dirt and everything, brush her down, and then get a ride. So we never had to say, oh, you're getting up in the freezing cold at 6 o'clock. We just said, Lucy, and they were up. So that is very fond memories as well with your horse, Lucy. She was part of my girls' visits to visit England and you.
Lucy was more of a draw than coming to visit Auntie Janet, I think.
I don't think so. It was just an extra. We'll put it as an extra thing. Right. Our next photograph.
Lucy was so...
Sorry?
Oh, okay. I was going to say, Lucy was so tall, we used to have to use steps.
Yeah, for the girls to get on.
Well, not just the girls, me also.
So there was like a wooden step of 2, a portable one, and we used to put it up by the side of it, and then we'd get on the horse, just to give people an idea how tall she was. Right, these are your last photographs, the Caravan.
So the Caravan is our place to go on holiday, where we can take the dogs with us without any problems. And we don't have to ask people to look after the dogs. They are part of our family, so we would like the dogs to come with us. So the Caravan is what's called a touring caravan, and it attaches to the car, which then enables you to travel anywhere you want to go.
So I'm just showing the viewers now, this blue thing here, you would take off the cover and attach it to the car and off you go.
Yes.
So as the viewers already know, you had 3 dogs, and the best way to go away with the dogs is to have a caravan, and then you don't have to ask for any favors, and also you like their company. Another thing I'm going to show the viewers here, where the arrow is going now, you can attach something here. What's it called? What you can attach? I always say it incorrectly. Awning?
Awning. So it's like a tent,
yeah,
that attaches directly to the caravan, and it increases your living space. But that is where the dogs lived. So they'd have their beds, like little camp beds, and they would live in there, because as you can imagine, 3 Labradors in a caravan, plus myself and husband, you would not be able to move. Yeah. So and we'd have the tables and chairs in the awning, so we can sit together when it wasn't too cold. And the dogs loved going on holiday with the caravan.
Well, normally you went to different places, but one of the nearby places was Formby, where there is a beach and dunes, so the dogs could just run free up and down the beach, no? So it's a very long, narrow beach, which you can just run up and down, walk down it, and it's a really good place to go, no?
Yes, it's not too far to go to. Our favourite place is to go to the coast, to the beach. So we don't have to travel for very long with the dogs in the car. And Cole, who I mentioned earlier, the Sky and Sumo's mum, even though she was a dog, I think she thought she was a mermaid. She loved water, and no matter even if it was a puddle made from the rain, she would always lie in the water, swim in the water. She was obsessed with the water, so she loved going to the beach. And she taught Sky and Sumo to swim. So even before, we may have been 5 miles away from the coast, but they knew, and they would start barking and getting really excited. So it was a favourite place for them to go.
Right then, Janet, I want to thank you for coming, because I know it's not your thing to be here on Zoom. And would you like to say anything to our viewers before we go?
Well, today is Sunday, so it's the weekend. So I wish you all a happy weekend for the rest of the day. I'm sure some of you are a lot more luckier than we are, with some warm sunshine. Here in the winter, it's freezing, and we are expecting rain later on. So the sunshine that is outside at the moment will not be with us for long, but that, hey, that's the UK weather. Right.
So before we go, we have to ask people if they like it to click on it, leave a comment. I'm going to post some things that we've said today together. And also, if they want to see more video of ours, to subscribe. I always forget this. It's not my thing, but here we go. So, Janet, have a lovely day, and thanks for coming.
Bye.
Toodaloo.